I just took a used Switch Lite I found on Facebook Marketplace for like $73 US and crammed so much jank and hardware into it that it honestly runs better than a Switch OLED. We're talking 60 FPS Breath of the Wild, completely fixing the blurry mess that is Pokemon Scarlet, and zero stick drift forever. Real quick, if you're new here, hey, I'm Coulter, and on this channel we cover console mods, retro handhelds, coding, and general weird DIY stuff. So if that sounds like you, be sure to subscribe down below so you can catch future uploads. But today we are ripping apart the Switch Lite to give it the ultimate hardware and software overhaul. But first, why are we doing this? Well, the Switch 2 is cool and all, but it just costs too much and is out of reach for many gamers. However, thanks to inexpensive mods available for the Switch 1 lineup, there are a ton of performance gains we can get out of that older hardware, which is awesome, especially because you can get a used Switch Lite for ridiculous cheap these days. So first things first, we had to completely gut the console to get rid of its dingy shell and upgrade the aesthetics. I swapped everything over to this beautiful new shell from Extreme Rate, which is delightfully Super Nintendo themed, of course, because I embrace my roots. Complete with custom buttons and all, which was pretty important because this particular Switch Lite I picked up used had some grime baked into the buttons that I couldn't really wipe out, so yeah, a complete reshell was the right call here. While I was inside the Switch, I ditched these stock drift-prone sticks. Switch stock drift-prone sticks. Switch stock drift-prone. Wow, that was really hard to say. But I swapped in Hall Effect joysticks, meaning that we should never have stick drift again on this console for its lifetime. Super weird the Switch 2 doesn't have these because these only cost me like 10 bucks. Also, while I was inside the Switch, because the Switch Lite has a smaller footprint and therefore thermal limits, I made sure to clean Nintendo's thermal paste off the chip and swap it with some Thermal Grizzly Cryonaut to keep that Mariko chip cool during the overclocks we'll be doing in a second on this thing. But next up was the hardest part, installing the mod chip. Micro soldering on those tiny little solder points was wildly difficult, especially since I accidentally kept bridging nearby points. And to finally get this soldered correctly, I actually had to buy a microscope off of Amazon just to see what I was doing down in there. But many hours later, we finally got the glitch to hit and the console booted into Hecate perfectly. You'll see in a second, but for a $15 mod chip, this is going to unlock a lot of value in the Switch Lite. I also popped in a massive micro SD card, I think it was 512 gig or 1 terabyte, so that I can hold all the library, backups, and homebrew I want to have on here, as well as the full tilt Linux and Android installations I have on the Switch Lite. Check out that video if you missed it where we set all that up, by the way. And one more upgrade that's on the way to make this even better than my Switch 2, arguably, is I do have the Switch Lite OLED mod literally en route right now from the R2 studios, wherever those are. And I'll actually be doing a separate video on installing that OLED mod and putting it through its paces to see how different it is to have an OLED Switch Lite. So definitely subscribe down below if you want to catch that future video. All right, now that the hardware is sorted, now it's time to unleash the software end of things. Since the Switch Lite uses the efficient Mariko chip, which fun fact is the same chip that the Switch OLED has, that means it handles overclocking beautifully, provided you manage its heat. More on that in a second. So let's start off by tackling Breath of the Wild. Nintendo knew that Breath of the Wild could and should have run better on the original Switch because that was one of their launch promises for the Switch 2 was, hey look, Breath of the Wild runs and looks way better on the Switch 2, aren't you happy now? But what if I told you we could get Breath of the Wild running at 60 FPS on a Switch Lite, which we're gonna do right now. All right, so first off, let's overclock Breath of the Wild. Now, to do this, we will need version 1.6, and so if you just go ahead and press plus while you're hovered over it, you'll see the version number in the top left there. In my case, I was on like version 1.8 or something on my MUMMC install, but I just went down to manage software and delete software. It will say that your save data will not be deleted, and turns out that 1.6 was actually the base version that the cart came pre-installed with, but if your cart is on an older version, you should be able to find the 1.6 update file online and manually install it through either something like DBI or kind of the new version of Tinfoil, which seems to be Cyberfoil. Now, I'm already using the Hats pack, so I already have SysClock installed. And if you want to know more about the Hats pack, go ahead and check out my video called What to Do First with a Modded Switch, which covers that in more detail. But the standard SysClock setup that comes with the Hats pack will get us pretty far for general overclocking needs. However, it doesn't let us push the RAM overclock quite as far as we need to get a more consistent 60 FPS. It's capped at 1600 megahertz, whereas we'd prefer more like 2000 if we can. So if you're interested in a bit of a rabbit hole, you'll want to look into OC Switchcraft EOS paired with Ultra Tuner, or if you want to ditch the Hats pack entirely and go for a more performance pack, Ultra NX is basically the Hats pack, but geared toward maximizing overclocking performance in a modded Switch. So feel free to explore there and let me know in the comments if you want me to deep dive on that path to get the maximum overclocking performance. But honestly, I just spent a couple too many hours trying to get that setup working properly on this Switch. So maybe you can let me know in the comments what I was missing, but for now, we'll focus on the SysClock settings that comes with the Hats pack, which can still get us some pretty impressive results. But whichever way you go, you'll likely also want to grab Salty NX, FPS Locker, and Reverse NX from their GitHub sites. To install them to your SD card, you'll just extract the Salty NX zip to the root of your SD card, choosing to merge if you're on macOS, and the FPS Locker and Reverse NX overlays will just go in the /switch/.overlays folder on your SD card. To see that .overlays folder on Mac, you may need to reveal hidden files with Command-Shift-period, but as a side note, I've noticed that Mac may add those pesky hidden files that actually confuse Atmosphere, so if you can, it's actually better to use a Windows or maybe Linux machine to do these SD card setup steps. But once that's done, we can fire up the Switch, choose our MUMMC, and we'll boot Breath of the Wild. Once in game, we'll use left D-pad down and press right stick to open the Ultra Hand menu, which comes with the hats pack. Then we'll head down to Reverse NX-RT, the overlay we added earlier, and we'll hit Change System Control so that we can have this Change Mode button appear. And then we'll want to make it so that mode is set to Fake Docked, which means that the Switch Lite, although you can't dock it, will go into its still available docked mode to get a bit more performance out of it. Then we'll head over to FPS Locker, the other overlay we added, and we'll go to Advanced Settings, and we'll go check download config file, and then it should be able to find that, and it'll say, oh, I have a config but not a patch. And then we'll hit convert config to patch file, and then it should be all happy. So we can just press B, and then we can go increase FPS target until custom FPS target is set to 60. You can see right now I'm actually getting 60 FPS while I'm in this view, which is very cool. So little spoiler alert there. And last we'll head down to sysclock like we mentioned earlier. Make sure it's set to enable, and we'll go down to edit app profile. You can also just temporarily override, but I like to go to edit app profile. And then in each of these groupings, you're gonna set the same settings for CPU, GPU, and memory. That way it'll always be set to the same settings no matter what you're doing, if it's charging or if it's not or whatever. But we're gonna first set the CPU to around 1785 megahertz, the GPU to either 768 or 844 megahertz. Any higher than that, and you'll wanna be in a very cold room, so would recommend you stick around that range. And finally, the memory to as high as it'll go, as this is a very RAM speed bound game. So as you can see, I can only go as far as 1600 megahertz, which is because of the safety measures implemented in Horizon OS that Atmosphere and the hats pack sort of back up by default to keep us from harming our switches. But like I said, you can go down those other avenues to try and push it even farther to unlock some even higher clock speeds to get a little more out of this performance. But after that, we'll go over to status monitor, and you can choose either full or mini. I'll choose mini because it's much easier on the eyes. And then you can see in this pretty complex area here, we're getting about 42 FPS. But as I move into this clearing, it's going up a little bit. We're getting 46, 47, 50, it just hit there. That's cool. 51, 55. Oh, standing still right there. We hit 58. That's pretty sick. And that's just on a mere Switch Lite. No paid upgrades or Switch 2 or NSO expansion packs required. So that's super cool. Oh, 59. No freaking way, let's go. And that's just with our more generalized overclocking tools, not even the more advanced ones. But even though we're not using the super fancy ones, it is still important to keep an eye on your temps here. Right now, it looks like our CPU, GPU, and RAM are running at about 40, 34, and 41 respectively. That's pretty good, but if you see the SoC starting to creep past 62 degrees Celsius or something, definitely wanna bump back that GPU, maybe the CPU clock a bit. Any overclock will still help this look miles better than stock for sure. But I mean, yeah, look at Link go. That is a buttery smooth run. Like, I know I'm not running into the more complicated areas here, but like, sheesh. Okay, moving on to Pokemon Scarlet. So for this game, we want to be on either version 3.01 or 4.00. I chose the latter. And to grab the 60 FPS patch we'll need, since we have the hats pack, we can use the all-in-one Switch updater. So to do that, choose Pokemon Scarlet, because it's right here. That opens our homebrew menu. We'll slide over to all-in-one Switch updater, hit A on that, scroll down to download cheats, and we'll choose download graphics enhancing cheats. And what this will do is it'll grab all the graphical cheats available for the games in your library. So if you go down to Tools and Cheats menu, View Installed Cheats, you'll be able to scroll through the games that you have in your library and then select it, and you'll see, okay, cool, we've got these cheats available, fantastic. Although for some reason I had to do this extra step to get the 60 FPS cheat for mine, and so in this case, I have the game open, I go home, leave it open, go ahead and open album so that it's in applet mode, and then go over to all-in-one Switch updater, back over to cheats, download individual graphic enhancing cheat codes, Pokemon Scarlet, which is of course the game currently open. And there we have 60 FPS. So I'll go ahead and hit A to download that. Fantastic. We'll exit that and we'll go back to Pokemon Scarlet. So again, we'll open left trigger down and right stick to open up the Ultra Hand menu. And we'll hop down to Edison to see our cheats menu here. And in this menu, if you see a 60 FPS cheat, go ahead and turn it on. In my case, I don't, so it seems like that's automatically applied or something. And we'll head over to FPS Locker and we'll see if there is a patch file that's been detected. In this case, it says patch file doesn't exist. Similar to before, you can always head down to advanced and check download config file. However, in this case, I got game is listed in warehouse with patch recommended, but config is not available. So I went ahead and increased the FPS target to 60, but I don't have the patch file for this specific game and not totally sure how to remedy that. So if I missed something there, let me know in the comments if you're more familiar with that aspect of things. Reverse NXRT should still be in docked mode, although it changed. So yeah, good thing we checked that. Always good to check. And then finally we'll head down to sysclock, and again, we'll go ahead and edit app profile. And for this game, I went ahead and set the CPU to 1785 megahertz, the GPU to 768 megahertz, and again, the memory maxed out to 1600 megahertz. I set that for all profiles. If we turn on our status monitor again and start running around, we'll notice something interesting here in that, at least in my case with this setup, it has still a seemingly locked 30, but then every now and again as I walk around, okay, so for some reason, it's not doing it. Before, it would be at locked 30, and then briefly, he would be released from his shackles and he'd run around at 60 FPS, and then back to 30, but for some reason, now we're running at 20 FPS. So not sure how it got worse, but that is the joy of overclocking, I suppose. I was messing around with this kind of downscaling cheat, so maybe that was part of it. So let's ditch that. I mean, our temps are looking pretty good, so I don't know why it would be going at such a low rate, but that's super weird. If you're more of an expert on Pokemon Scarlet and Violet overclocking, let me know in the comments maybe what I'm doing wrong here. Like I said, I'm very new to this and did kind of have it working, but now it's not, so would love any advice from the community. But one word to the wise though, whether it's working well or not, you will want to save often, as overclocking Scarlet and Violet can occasionally cause a crash, and so definitely save yourself some heartache, and again, be sure to keep your eye on those temps up there to make sure we're not pushing it too hard. And similar to Breath of the Wild, there are some more advanced tracks you can look into for overclocking Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Notable ones I came across were the Pokemon Compass project / massive mod pack or game transformation, I guess you'd call it, and Ultracam, which gives you a lot more granularity in the resolution and things like that when you're downscaling and overclocking. And it should be noted that yes, of course, pushing the hardware harder will drain the battery faster, but honestly, I don't mind sacrificing a little bit of battery life if it means that Breath of the Wild will run at like nearly double the frame rate. Apparently the same can't be said for Pokemon Scarlet, but who knows, maybe I'll figure it out after this video is filmed and let you know in the comments what I did. At the end of the day, turning this budget handheld into an overclocked powerhouse was well worth the long soldering hours. I'm curious to hear from you guys though. Would you trade battery life for raw frames on a handheld like this? Let me know in the comments below. Also, if you want to see a dedicated tutorial video on how I installed this mod chip in the Switch Lite, definitely let me know in the comments, as I'm very open to making that video. If you watched this whole video and enjoyed the deep dive, be sure to drop a controller emoji in the comments so I know you appreciate content like this. And a huge shout out to the Patreon supporters who make doing weird DIY tech projects like this possible. And be sure to join the Discord link below to hang out with the community. If you like this video, you'll probably enjoy when I installed full tilt Android and Linux on this Switch Lite to unlock a ton of possibilities on the handheld. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.